Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Get Geek podcast. Double G.
GG.
GG?
GG, yeah.
G squared. G.
Wait.
G.
Yeah,
again?
GG. GG. GG.
Okay.
GGN.
Or G.
GGN?
Get Geek News.
Get Geek News. That's right. So, hi, everybody. My name is Walt. Guys, introduce yourselves.
Our very short round of the table includes me. I almost forgot my name for a second. AJ.
What?
Remember, I used to be an angel. I hacked out my grace.
Oh, okay, so then, yeah, it's, what's poppin', Jimbo? It's, Eli? Yeah, Eli?
There you go. And before we continue, I'll remind you to check out our social media pages, especially our Instagram page, because we drop a lot of news on our IG account. That's at Get Geek News on IG, and pretty much you can find us everywhere on Twitter,
Instagram.
Facebook, Instagram,
Spotify.
Reddit.
For Reddit. Our Reddit editor here is AJ. He's got to post some conversations up there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll get working on that. Before we continue, last week we announced something, right?
Yes, something where we were selling something? No, we were giving something away. And it was
Giving.
For free.
something pretty cool, too.
Meaning we're giving something away for free.
Do you remember what we were giving away?
One was a pair of Mandalorian socks. Sorry, Boba Fett's not a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So we were giving away fake Mandalorian socks. Wolfie, that's
Yeah.
for you. Anyway, we did say that today we were going to announce the winner. And guess what, guys?
We have a winner.
We have a winner.
Who is it?
So,
Don't keep me in suspense.
do we have a drum roll? We need to get a drum roll. The winner of the fake Mandalorian stance socks contest is at Kevin_Galvin14. So at Kevin _Galvin14, we're going to reach out to you so we can get your information and we can send those socks over to you so they can keep your toes nice and toasty.
Congratulations, bro.
All right.
Stay toasty.
So going from that, we're going to now get into our episode. Now, this episode is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be kind of like a geek out episode where each of us is going to have something or we're going to geek out over.
Yes.
And
Full and unadulterated geek.
yes. So now I'm going to advise everyone now, just so that you know, and before we get into the topics, we will say it again, but this is going to be a spoiler episode. So whatever we're going to be geeking out over, understand we are going to spoil the crap out of it.
Yes.
So,
I suggest not listening to this episode if you do not want spoilers.
Well, listen to the episode,
Well, after.
but watch the stuff and then come back and listen to it.
Yeah, so don't watch it if you didn't watch the things we're going to talk about.
Yes, because we're going to geek out over that stuff. We're going to throw some Easter eggs onto a lot of the stuff also, right?
Yeah.
So who wants to go first?
I guess that'll be me.
Okay.
And the topic I will be covering is supernatural. Whoa! So far out of left field and uncharacteristic of me.
Yeah, like we didn't see that coming.
But, interestingly enough, this season has been so far out of left field.
Okay, so before you continue, again, we're going to alert our audience. If you're not caught up to Supernatural,
Like me.
pause this episode, check the show notes. If you want to continue on to the other topics, go right ahead. But we are going to spoil the crap out of Supernatural, especially this last episode, because
Spoiler natural.
AJ has to talk about this, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
AJ, fire away.
So, this episode is entitled, it's episode 8 of season 15, Our Father Who Aren't in Heaven.
Ooh, I like the name already.
Okay.
Well, before I even get into this, I have to preface who the villain of the season is.
I kind of know already, but for everybody else at this table, meaning Eli.
Yeah, I haven't been caught up.
Well, I'm not caught up either, but I know everything, so.
Because you look at spoilers
It's annoying.
every day.
Anyway, so drop it.
So, the villain of this season, and the reason why certain things are happening the way they are, get ready for this. It's God.
Boom.
What?
God
As in-
is the season
Wait,
villain.
Can I say it because he doesn't know? As in Chuck?
Yes.
What?
I know that
Chuck-
already,
No
dude.
freaking way,
Chuck
bro.
is the villain of this season.
To be honest, I thought God was kind of like lame, like dumb.
Dude, he gets down. He gets wrathful. So wrathful.
Oh, yo.
So,
Like, let me preface so far. He's done a few things that he's supposedly not been able to do. So, like, first of all, we've been getting a lot of nostalgic villains, like Lilith.
What? Her again?
Yep,
Okay.
she got resurrected.
How did that happen?
So, first of all, when angels and demons die, we found out where they go, and it's this place called the Empty.
Yeah, the empty.
It's where angels and demons go to sleep for eternity.
Castillo went there.
Yep, he did.
So it's like their version of purgatory, heaven and hell type of thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
According to previously established information, God has no reach there. This is not seen to be the case because Lilith is back at it.
So God / Chuck resurrected Lilith.
Yes, but that's not even
Why?
getting to this episode. I have to make that known before I even get to what happens in this episode.
Okay.
So, up to this point, the last season finale saw the death of Jack and the release of every single soul in hell. God
Oh.
just opened the gates of hell like, there you go, end of the world.
Wait, so like. Okay,
So what
okay,
happened
okay.
last season was that Jack lost his soul trying to fight Apocalypse World Michael.
Wait, so what happened to Lucifer? I just want to know.
He's dead.
Dead?
Yeah.
Like Michael, like.
No, Dean killed him as Michael.
Boom.
What?
Because what ended up happening was the whole Apocalypse Michael's whole arc was that he wanted to get to mainstream Earth.
Mainstream
or
Earth.
Earth 1, as I like to call it.
With Kevin Tran, the.
Or Earth Prime. Better yet, Earth Prime.
With Kevin Tran, the nerdy prophet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Eek.
he eventually does that, and he ends up having a standoff with Jack for the first time. But what happens is he loses miserably because Jack is OP as hell.
Damn.
And what ends up happening is because Lucifer has been trying to build a relationship with Jack, but Lucifer does something very Lucifer-like. Jack finds out, and he's like, "You're not my father. You're a monster." And then this obviously triggered the hell out of Lucifer,
Yeah.
and he ends up stealing Jack's grace and
Wow.
becomes supercharged.
That's no father. That's no father.
Oh, yeah. Like, at that point, there was nothing that could beat him, except there was one thing that
Michael.
could possibly stand up to him. Not just any version of Michael. Michael wielding his sword. Because remember, Dean is
yeah.
Michael's true vessel. So he ended up working with Michael to,
Oh, okay.
beat Lucifer. And they do that. But that's besides the point. What ends up happening is that Jax loses his soul, and he's basically come to a point where the Winchesters need to deal with him.
Wait,
And
need
so
what?
the Winchesters needed to deal with him.
Damn.
So God eventually stepped in because Jack's powers were starting to affect the entire planet.
Okay.
Basically, Chuck is trying to railroad them into killing Jack, who's basically become like a son to them. And it's been revealed that Chuck has been stringing them along like puppets.
Eee.
Yeah. He, in his words, "You're my favorite TV show." How meta is that?
Yo, that.
And so when Dean and Sam and all the rest of them see the strings on them, they're like, "Dude, get this crap off of us." And Chuck is like, "Well, no, you're my favorite show. Do what you got to do." And the weapon that is supposed to kill Jack, they try to use on Chuck. And that obviously pisses him off.
And that doesn't work?
Well, in a sense.
Okay.
And so basically, that's what makes Chuck the season villain of season 15.
Damn, what the hell? That's so dramatic, bro.
It's very...
Eee.
So, one of the things he does is he resurrects Lilith. That's just one of the things. But as a side effect of opening all the gates in hell, like I'm saying every single one of them, as in the cage was opened too.
Wait, does that mean...
Yep.
Finally.
Adam Michael.
Adam.
The lost Winchester.
Not lost. They knew where he was.
They deal
They
with
just-
that.
Lost,
Yeah.
lost in their minds because they threw him down there and never looked back.
Yeah, so this episode was about him, and by God, he stole the episode away with his performance.
Good.
Because what he did, what they ended up doing was, Michael and Adam actually formed a very tight bond with one another, and they're basically the reason why they got out of the pit unscarred. They were like prison buddies.
Okay.
Okay.
Even though
That's
it was
pretty cool.
previously see, I got into a discussion about this on Reddit because a lot of people are pointing out that Chuck said Michael was too crazy to help them when Amara came along. When they originally went to Lucifer to deal with Amara, that's the darkness, by the way, God's sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lucifer says, Michael's bonkers out crazy, but he's clearly not.
Oh, okay.
And so one of the theories surrounding that is that when you have to think about it like this. All of angel kind sees humanity as bugs, literal walking trash.
And then just squash him.
And then Michael goes and makes friends with one. So to Lucifer, you could probably make the case that he found that crazy.
Okay.
I don't know about Chuck. Well, everyone thinks Chuck's lying now because the famous line that put the whole fandom into unrest is basically, writers lie. So what about the show is even really real?
So
Sure.
tell our audience how we were first introduced to Chuck.
So all the way back.
Yeah.
All the way back in season 4.
Season 4?
Season 4.
Damn, I don't even remember that.
Chuck debuted as a quote-unquote prophet. And he was basically been helping the Winchesters every now and again with sort of thwarting the apocalypse indirectly.
He also had his own little book series also, right?
Yes, the Supernatural series, and he's writing the Gospel of Winchester.
Very meta.
Yeah.
Because they had conventions and book clubs surrounding the Winchesters.
Yeah.
So weird, bro.
And so, and then season 5 comes along, and it's kind of hinted at that Chuck is God. The way he talks about, honestly, if you're looking at it thematically, season 5 was supposed to be the end of the show.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dean gets his not so happy. You look at the themes in that episode. It was the ultimate sacrifice. There's no way you can get Sam out. If you do, you're basically back to square one. Dean more or less gets what he wants. He finally has the chance to not be hunting, to have a family and whatnot. It also fits in with the common theme of free will. So there's a really great line by Cass in that season where he's having a discussion with Cass and the Impala, and basically, we won, yes. Castiel was like, we did the impossible. But he's like, then Dean is like, well, I kind of feel screwed. Like, everyone else gets their happy ending. Where's my happy ending in this? And then you see Castiel was like, well, you know what, dude, this is kind of what you asked for. No paradise, no hell on earth, just more of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
just refresh my memory. Season 5, because there's so many seasons. After a while, they kind of get jumbled up. Season 5 was when they got Sam out of the cage.
No, that's season 6.
Season 6.
Okay, so
Season 5 is the apocalypse season.
So that's when they throw him into the cage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Season 11, going back to the whole Chuck timeline. Once the darkness is released, I'm not going to go into that because I at least want that to be
Non-spoiled.
Yeah,
But I already
come
watched
on.
that.
Well, he hasn't, so whatever.
Yes, I haven't yet. Although I know everything.
But you don't know who killed
Continue,
her.
please.
Chuck comes back for when the darkness is released, his sister. And, they kind of go over where he's been this whole time. They basically establish that it's not just, he might be God. No, he is God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, he helps them wrap up the darkness. That's okay. Then you come to season 11, where, all right, so I indirectly helped you boys with Lucifer. Fine. I directly helped you out with the darkness. He's basically establishing that if there's something big enough to mess with his creation substantially, he will step in. And Jack was becoming one of those problems. Yeah, by the way, to put it into context, why is this guy so important? Jack? Who is he? He's the son of Lucifer.
A Nephilim.
Yeah. And the idea behind that is archangels are already powerful enough. But what a Nephilim is the combined... when an angel and a human procreate, the resulting offspring, what happens is souls are already like a nuclear power reactor. Grace is the source of an angel's power.
Right.
You put those two together, and
get
they
a
work in tandem.
supercharged.
So
Yeah.
basically like Super Saiyans. I mean Saiyans. Saiyan and human. Oh, you got a hybrid Saiyan. Hybrid Saiyans are
Something
stronger.
like that. Now throw Archangel Grace into the mix. The stuff of primordial creation. The guys that were basically helping God sweep up the darkness. That is one powerful MFer.
I know.
And so when he got out of control, Chuck went, okay, well, let's deal with this. But Chuck being Chuck, he couldn't just have them deal with it. He wanted them to deal with it in the most dramatic way possible. He wanted to do an Abraham sacrificing his son Isaac situation, a very thematic story.
Why though?
Because that's how he is. He is a writer.
Oh,
That's
well,
how
true,
the
true.
show portrays him to be. But when Dean and Sam were like, we're not okay with that, and he's like, no, dude, come on, this is the story. You're really not going to go through with it? In seeing his indifference, they were really turned off to that. And so basically that's how he became the season villain.
Okay.
But back to the episode. This is a lot of context here. I'm sorry, but it has to be gone over. This episode deals with the return of Adam and Michael, and just the interplay between them is so rich. It really is. And there's this awesome scene where Lilith,
Who's back?
goes to see Adam, and she's basically like, your father wants to have a talk with you. And they go into this really enriching history of the apocalypse, how and this was a fan theory before, but now it's actually confirmed. Michael and Lilith directly conspired with each other to bring about the apocalypse.
Michael and Lilith? So nothing with Lucifer.
Well, the whole point
Well,
was
yeah.
that they both wanted the apocalypse to happen.
Yeah.
So they both worked together to make it happen.
But doesn't like Michael and Lucifer?
But the whole point is Michael wants to kill his brother. He wants to fulfill his destiny.
Oh yeah. So okay, I get it.
So even though he doesn't like working with a demon, he does it anyway.
Means to an end.
Basically.
Yeah.
So, Lilith brings that up because Michael at first is like, if God wants to see me, he can come see me himself. And she's like, come on, I really need you to come back with me. This isn't going to end well for me. And he just gives her a look like, this was never going to end well for you to begin with. And he just instantaneously vaporizes her in like the diner he's in. It's so awesome. And
so no more Lilith again.
For now.
For now.
And just even like just to go over with what happened with Lilith. What other guys are we gonna get back? Like, a lot of people really want Azazel to come back.
I know, that's exactly what I was thinking. Azazel.
Yeah. If they can do this, they can definitely pull that off.
Yeah.
But just to wrap things up.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Adam/Michael begin to get their resolution with the Winchesters. And they kind of form an uneasy alliance with them. Because Castiel shows Michael, basically, who's still clinging on to his good soldier act, despite being thrown into the cage and being left there to rot. He shows him who Chuck really is. Like, and, you know, Michael, he's the good soldier. He doesn't want to even think remotely about that. But Castiel basically shows him. And so through that and the potential threat that they might have to face later, they form an uneasy alliance.
Okay.
And their next stop is they're going back to Purgatory. Because they found out the spell that Chuck used to seal Amara away. And they have to get a special flower called, I don't remember the exact name, but Leviathan Extract.
What? We're going to see Leviathans again?
We're going to Purgatory, so it's not out of the question.
Ben.
Yep. That's what other people are thinking too. Benny.
Benny!
Who has actually made a debut in an earlier episode as an alternate future.
What was he?
He was in a future with Dean where Sam gave into his demon blood powers.
Oh, I want to see that.
So how many episodes do we have left in season 15?
Well, let's see. It's 20 total. This is episode 8, so 12.
Oh, so we're almost halfway there.
And this is the mid-season finale.
Oh, so we are halfway there, technically.
This show doesn't come back until January. Everyone is so upset.
It's only a month.
Yeah, it's only a month.
It's only a month and we get a bomb drop like this? Come on, man.
All right. Well, in a month's time, we'll have another supernatural episode where AJ is finally shaking the effects of not seeing Sam and Dean.
By the end of the show, he'll start having seizures and everything, and he'll go crazy.
Yeah, apparently this ending is supposed to be dark.
Oh.
Good.
Okay,
I like that.
good. I like dark endings.
Yes.
Like, I hate happy endings. Like, I do not like them at all.
All right. So that was Supernatural, and that's AJ's Geek Out. Eli, you got a Geek Out for us?
Yeah, actually I do. Just like AJ's, actually mine's is on the same platform, CW, and it's a couple of shows actually.
Oh, but it's really one event.
It's really one event though.
I know what you're talking about.
Crisis.
Yes.
So,
The Arrowverse has their crossover.
yes, the Arrowverse.
Not just any crossover. It's the crossover to end all crossovers. Like, if Infinity War didn't come out, this would be pretty ambitious.
Yeah. If Infinity War didn't come out, that's so true.
Very true.
So, just to put a little context on this, just like AJ did Supernatural, Crisis is basically about the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor. So I believe like the Monitor is the good one, and the Anti-Monitor is the one who brings about the antimatter.
Yeah, he wants to completely erase the multiverse.
So, AJ, do you know a little bit about the DC comic version of Crisis?
I do. So that what basically happens there, the way they do it in the CW, the way they start it isn't exactly the same, but what basically happens is there's this guy from a guardian from Oa. Mm-hmm. He's one of the. This is like way, well, no, not way back because he basically time travels. But anyway, there's an individual from Oa. I forget his name, but it's a very important name.
I'll find out for you.
Yeah, but basically what he does is he's obsessed with how creation came to be. So what he does is he travels back in time, or rather, he gains a window to see what the beginning of the universe is like. But the universe, not liking that, says, yeah, well, you know what? Because you did that, we're going to have a multiverse. And so that's basically why the multiverse exists.
Ooh. Damn.
What ends up happening is, if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've read the Crisis on Infinite Earths comics. Part of this multiverse that's been created, basically you have the positive matter universe and the antimatter universe. And basically, the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor have been fighting for like eons. But basically what happens is the Anti-Monitor, they fight each other so hard that they basically go into a deep slumber. That's how hard they were fighting.
Wait, so like after the fight?
No, like when they fought each other to like with all their energy that they basically went into a coma.
So
Yeah.
just to let you know, the Monitor has a very specific job in the DC universe. And what the Monitor is supposed to do is because there's parallel universes, multiverses and stuff like that, what the Monitor's job is to do is to catalog these realities. Then he's got his evil counterpart, the Anti-Monitor.
Who doesn't want a catalog, he wants to destroy it all.
Destroy.
Which is funny because the way he started it, apparently according to the DC Comics, the antimatter destroyed a universe by accident. And then he's like, "Oh, this is kind of cool. Let's keep going."
Oh, I actually didn't know that. That's interesting.
I didn't know that either.
But anyway, so basically, Crisis at its very core is wanting to preserve these universes that are being destroyed. It's like if Galactus were into eating universes, their job is to stop him from eating just everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, there are a lot of sacrifices. I know Flash dies during
Flash
this
sacrifice.
excursion.
Supergirl dies also
Yeah.
as well. You know. And I believe a version of Lex Luthor dies, Alexander Luthor,
Yes.
right? And more importantly, the Monitor dies at the hands of Harbinger,
Yeah.
right? So that's the context of the comic book version. What ends up happening is that most of the multiverse dies, right? And we're
Yep.
left with one Earth One. Is that correct?
Um,
I'm trying to remember because it's been a long time also.
I think it was Earth One.
I want to say 52 because I think part of the because Flashpoint comes before the New 52, and Flashpoint happens after Crisis on Infinite Earths. So New 52 doesn't happen until after Flashpoint.
Yeah, it happens a while after.
Yeah.
So
So I was gonna say it results in 52 alternate Earths, but I don't think that's the case. No.
there's one remaining Earth in the Crisis on Infinite Earths. All other reality, all of the other parallel Earths were destroyed. And I think part of the reason that they did that is because DC kind of was a mess with their origin stories. And I think this was their way of kind of simplifying the whole DC universe on a whole. Kill everybody and start anew with one Earth and one set of heroes and one set of origin stories and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we had the comic book event, really. But now let's take a look at CW's version because it's a little different than
Very,
the comic
actually.
books. Yeah, it's first of all, we don't have all of the heroes.
Krona. That was his name.
Oh, okay.
Krona?
The Owen.
There you
Krona.
go. See?
They
Knew we were
removed
gonna
the
get
They removed the
Yeah.
Krona arc from this.
Right.
Yeah, so like according to CW, it's basically just I'm gonna literally read what it says. It says something about a single black infinitude, right? And then the infinitude, the darkness broke and it was filled with life.
So
and
the Big Bang.
Yeah. So basically after that, that created the multiverse, and every single planet was multiplied by thousands.
Right.
Yeah. Right?
There's a whole bunch of Earths out there.
Yeah.
Infinite Earths.
Infant.
Oh, you saw what I did there?
Yeah.
Not so infinite anymore.
Oh, we'll get into that.
But yeah, so there's a bunch of planets that are the same, and that's basically the story in a nutshell. Nothing to do with Krona.
Yeah, the universe was already like this.
Yeah, it's just the universe doing its thing.
So the interesting thing is that when the Crisis on Infinite Earths story starts off, we get a look at some of these Earths, right? And there's a lot of Easter eggs in there, right?
Yeah.
So this thing has been building for a year. The last crossover kind of set everything up, and throughout, I think Arrow, the Monitor has been popping in and out and stuff, just to let you know that Arrow is going to play a huge part in this crossover, right?
Yeah, Arrow does play a huge part.
So the first Easter egg we get is Earth 89.
Earth 89. I believe that was the Batman.
The Batman 89 Michael Keaton version.
Yeah.
Because we have Robert Wall reprising his role from that movie, and he's there.
And you have that classic music in the background.
Yes, you do.
The old Batman. And
Who's Robert Wall?
That guy right there.
Yeah,
Him.
I mean, who is he in the movie?
He's a reporter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then something that I noticed that probably a lot of people noticed was the bat signal. Actually, if you look at it closely, it's not the new bat signal, it's the original bat signal. So it looks like, I guess, an M. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And then there's Earth 9 which
Hey,
is
that's Titans.
Titans. The Titans.
We get a look at Hawk, and we get a look at Robin, but not Dick Grayson Robin. We get
Jason Todd
from
the Titans show.
From the Titans show on DC Universe, which has nothing to do with the CW. So you already get a sense that they're pulling from every single property that they can, not just focused on their network, because we get the movie version of Batman, we get the Titans from DC Universe, and now the next one that they show is the Ray.
Yeah, from Earth X.
Right. So that was the last. I think that was the last crossover.
That was the last
Crisis
crossover.
on Earth X.
Yeah,
right?
I think
believe
so. Well, that was the one before the Monitor thing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So on this one, if you go to CWC, the Ray has his own show. It's an animated show.
I actually did not know that.
Yes.
How long is it?
It's not very long. I think they're like 30-minute episodes at best. And then this one. Do you guys recognize who this guy is?
It took me a while to realize it, but once I heard his corny line, I immediately knew who it was.
We get Burt Ward from the original Batman. What is it, 1966 or something like that?
Yeah, the one with Adam West.
Holy crossover crap.
Holy Crimson Skies of Death.
There you go.
Yeah, that's how I knew that's what that was.
I didn't know who that was, actually. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a callback. That's a deep cut callback going way back. You know?
Not even I knew that. But
Like 50 to 60 years.
So what did you guys think of The Crisis, because it's a 5-episode event, and we've gotten through 3. They come back in January. Okay, so
everyone's doing this? What the hell?
well,
they're
nobody
both
wants to work
CW.
during Christmas and New
Oh,
Year's.
okay. Well,
right?
And plus,
yeah,
they're both
there's
CW.
that.
And they're both
There's
CW,
that.
exactly. So the first episode came out with Supergirl. No, I'm sorry, with Batwoman. I'm sorry.
No, the
The
first
first
episode.
episode was Batwoman.
Yeah.
It was?
Yes. The second episode was Supergirl. And the third episode was Flash. That is not. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's-
Supergirl was the first one.
Yeah, it was.
I thought
Oh.
it was Batwoman.
Batwoman,
no.
Batwoman
He's actually
was-
right because
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
remember seeing on the second episode the Batarangs.
Okay, so it's Supergirl, Batwoman, Flash. I apologize. That's the order that we've gotten the first 3 episodes. What do you guys think so far of Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Here's my thing. I guess for the first few episodes, it's good, but for me, I just feel like they're trying to pack too much.
There is a lot that they're throwing in there.
Yeah, I would have felt better if this was like a miniseries of its own.
Just the cameos alone. Well, it is a miniseries. We're talking about 5
like,
hours. worth.
Like I'm talking about what Netflix did for the Defenders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Like
have
that.
their own. So they would have to add what, like 3 episodes to it to make it a little bit longer, because the Defenders was only an 8-episode arc. for them.
Yeah. So I think a story with this scale and the characters that are at play, I honestly think it deserves a little more runtime.
It does, because they're trying to squish it all together, and it doesn't.
Yeah. I find the pacing to be way too quick.
Like
As-
the amount of cameos is probably worth an entire episode alone, right?
Dude,
Yeah.
we get Tom Ellis's Lucifer, bro.
So let's go through all the cameos that we can remember, all right? So obviously we've seen Robert Wells' character from the original Batman 1989, Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson movie, right? He's the journalist. We get cameos from the DC universe.
Teen Titans.
Teen Titans. We got Hawk and Robin from there.
Reminder, not the bad show. Teen Titans Go. Definitely not
No,
that.
this is Titans. Titans.
No way.
You
No
know.
way.
Who else do we get?
We also got that. I don't really know who he
Robin?
is.
Well, we get Robin from the original 1960s Batman and Robin show, right? Who are you talking about?
Who was that? The guy with the red and green yellow shirt, where he says the corny line.
yeah, that's Robin.
That's Robin.
that's Robin.
That's Robin.
That's not Robin.
That's
Yes, it
Robin.
is.
That's Robin.
That's Robin. Well, he's obviously way older. Now,
But like, that's not Robin.
yes, that's
Holy
Robin.
senior citizen, Robin. That's Robin from
Oh.
the original show. Yeah, that's Robin.
Okay, that does not. Whatever. I'm just done. I don't even know.
Okay, so we also get Mia Smoke, who is trending to be the next Green Arrow, right?
Yeah, isn't it?
And that's a storyline in the Arrow
Oh,
show.
Mia Smoke.
Isn't she from the show that you watch?
She was on Shadowhunters. Yeah.
Tom Wells is now another character. He's called the Pariah. Right? Who is tasked by the Anti-Monitor to be present at any of these tragic events, right? That's like his penance, or
Damn.
so to speak, right?
What?
We also get Luke Fox from Batwoman. She shows up. That's Lucius's Fox
Daughter.
son.
Son?
No, son, yeah. That's the guy that when she went to the next cameo that I'm going to talk about, the Wayne Mansion, the guy that opened up the door, that's Luke Fox.
Wait, that's
He's another part of the Bat family, right?
Yes, he is. I believe
Batwing?
he is Batwing, and there was rumors out there that he was going to be the next comic book version of Batman.
Ooh.
So,
That's
cool.
you know, Bruce Wayne was going to hang up the cape and pass it on to Luke Fox. That was the rumor. I haven't heard much about that lately. But the next cameo that we're going to lead into with Luke Fox is Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
Now, you guys know who Kevin Conroy is, but just in case the audience doesn't know, if you've ever watched the 1990s Batman the Animated Series, he was the voice of Bruce Wayne / Batman. He is the seminal voice for the animated Batman. He is Hall of Fame material, right?
He's been in countless other Batman properties, too.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
So the Batman that we see here is a broken Batman, right? He's literally
this whole entire scene is probably one of my favorite scenes of all time. I mean, all of the CW.
Mm-hmm.
Should I go on or
go for it?
But
again, we're not in non-spoilers. Everything is spoiler here.
Well, technically, we haven't gone through everything.
Okay, so let's circle back and let's go through all the other cameos that we see, and then we'll come back to our favorite episodes. So Batman is there. We get not so much cameo, but we see the death of Superman on one of the Earths, which is very reminiscent to the comic book version where he died at the hands of Doomsday.
Doomsday.
It was almost like lifted off the page, right?
Yeah.
They had the flag. Wasn't that there?
Yes, it was. AJ's favorite, who is a regular on the CW, but John Constantine shows up.
Oh, John Constantine.
Pretty big part. Here's another cameo that might be interesting. I think AJ would like this also, right? Smallville.
Yeah.
We get Tom
I
Welling.
didn't watch that show.
I know. You should watch it. It's actually pretty good. Well, it's good at the beginning, it meanders in the middle, and then it gets good at the end. Okay. Tom Welling reprises his role as Clark Kent in a very, very different and shocking way, right?
Yeah.
We'll get into that later. And we also get Lois, Erica Durance. She's also on the show playing Allura, I believe, right? Who is a different character, but she comes back in a different role on this Earth as the Lois Lane from Smallville. Allura is
Supergirl's mom?
Supergirl's mom, correct. And she was on that asteroid that, well, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
And one of my favorites, Brandon Routh, who is a regular on the CW as playing the Atom. He comes back and reprises his role from Superman Returns and shows up as Clark Kent.
Clark Kent.
Now
Superman.
He plays a Superman that is very reminiscent of the Kingdom Come Superman, right?
Not very familiar with that storyline, but
Neither.
I'm not gonna lie. I've seen memes on Reddit where it's like the virgin Injustice Superman who loses everyone and becomes that, and then the Chad, the Chad Superman of the CW. Like, oh my god, it's so funny.
So here's the other Easter eggs. These are people that have died at the hands of a certain person. We see a Joker card. He's dead. We see
Joker died.
We see the Riddler, his cane. Apparently, he's gone and got himself perished.
And
we see Mr. Freeze's snow globe.
Yeah.
And the thing that really sets everything off, we see a pair of glasses.
And
those are
this is my favorite scene of the CW. All of CW.
We'll leave the glasses unknown for now until we go back to your scene.
It's broken glasses.
It's broken glasses.
Yeah.
And we get a familiar person from the Supernatural verse.
What?
Yes, the Supernatural. We have a person playing Ryan Choi.
Oh yeah, him.
Kevin Tran.
Kevin Tran as who's supposed to become the Atom.
Yep.
Kevin
Jonah
Tran.
Hex shows up.
Before he got hexed.
Yeah.
Exactly. We have the Huntress from the long gone Birds of Prey show.
I don't know who that is.
That it only lasted 13 episodes. It was here and gone in a flash.
God.
Yes, gone. And the biggest one, I think, you know what? I take it back. Brandon Routh is not my favorite cameo. That has to be, like AJ said, Tom Ellis playing his role as Lucifer. From Fox's and now Netflix's series called Lucifer. So, and Black Lightning shows up.
Definitely.
Yep.
He plays a role.
Which is very interesting because when Black Lightning first came out, they said that he would not cross over with the other heroes. But yet, there he is.
No, but I actually like him. I actually like him as a character.
Given what's actually happening, I don't think it's very far-fetched that they're trying to do here what they did with the comics and put them all on one Earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's two other cameos. One I'm going to hold until the end of our discussion because it's very impactful on where we're going to go with this show. But the other one is the old Flash from the Barry Allen from the old Flash TV series.
Yep.
And he has a very specific role and a very specific scene. And when it does happen, we actually get flashbacks from the old show.
It's actually pretty heartbreaking.
Yes, it is. So, your favorite scene? Shoot.
Okay, my favorite scene was definitely the broken glasses scene. Mm-hmm. It reminded me a lot of Dark Knight.
Oh,
and it was...
Whose glasses are they?
I'm not going to say it yet. No, hold on.
You have to say it now.
Hold on. It was very dark. I liked it. It gave me the creeps just looking at Batman. It was Superman's glasses.
Yes,
broken.
It was.
And there's not really much to it. It was very, very dark.
Well, the Batman that we see Kevin Conroy play is like super uber dark, isn't he?
Very dark. Like so dark that he kills everyone in his path.
Yeah, all of those things, the Joker card, the Riddler, the snow globe from Mr. Freeze, those are all trophies in his cabinet.
Yeah.
Of the people that
which
he's
you probably
killed.
guessed, but
This dude was a predator. They're not skulls.
I know. This is probably one of my favorite versions of Batman because he's very dark.
He's very robotic.
He's
That's
Or
on account of fighting
machine than
Superman.
man.
I like how they did. Could I just?
Yeah.
I like how they did. How he's a retired. Basically, I guess you could call him a serial killer because of what he's done.
Yeah, I guess.
But
He's pretty much killed everybody in Gotham that would be considered villainous, right? I guess.
yeah,
So,
and
but yet he's lost all hope.
he has, and that's one of the reasons why I like this Batman. This Batman is so dark, and they
It's
did.
Luke, man.
This is one of the least corniest scenes ever in the CW shows, and that's why I like it so much. It's really dark. It's really dark.
I'm gonna give you my impression of the CW crossover. We stopped watching some of the CW. We used to watch all of the shows, right? We started with Arrow. We went with Flash. We did Supergirl.
In fairness, I meant to catch up, but I just have not been allowed to.
Right. There's
Yeah.
so much TV out there that it makes it impossible to watch every single thing.
Yeah.
And so the CW verse was one of the casualties of watching as much as we can, right? So it's been a couple of years since we've revisited that.
Wow, it's been years.
Yeah,
It's been years.
well, it's been like 2 seasons because I think the last season we saw was the one with Arrow and that guy, I can't remember his name.
Didn't Arrow get thrown in jail or something?
Yeah, that's
I
where
was
we ended.
actually watching that season, but I fell off.
Okay, so that's where we probably all fell off on watching the CW verse. You know, I watched an episode here or there. You know, I've kind of tried to keep up. Going back to this crossover, the interesting thing is that you really don't have to know too much about what happened.
I don't agree.
You don't think so?
No.
Because I was complete. The whole idea of Mia Smoke.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Arrow. She's a different thing. But
Where did Pariah come from? Where did the Spectre come from?
Well, Pariah, nobody really knew about in
Yeah,
if
Pariah
you watch
kinda
the
came
show,
out-
Pariah-
No, I don't think so. I
no.
think Pariah they introduced him in this
Yeah, I think.
this crossover.
really,
I
because
think
it
Pariah, like,
seems
jumped
like
in.
the way Cisco was talking about that it was based on prior events.
No.
Well, something did happen with Wells. There's been like how many versions of Wells
Well,
in this show? You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
How I see it is that he was on a different Earth at the time, and because they mentioned it, he was trying to get like a lot of knowledge, so much knowledge that he was forced under anti-monitor's control, and
He basically suffered the curse of Krona.
yeah, Chrono.
And
So maybe that was his their way of replacing Krona. You know.
or actually, now that I think about it, it's actually the curse of I can't even see. I'm sorry, just as an aside, they name drop the actual name of the anti-monitor, but it holds no sway because we haven't even gotten into the new gods. It pisses me off.
Yeah. So and we won't see that chair.
We will not.
Okay, so maybe there is that, but you know what? It's a story that, aside from the characters, you can pretty much follow without having any knowledge of, some of the other things.
Well, you have to at least have some
You have-
seasons in.
right? And you can look that up, but it's not like a series. It's not like a crossover where you have to know the events.
Yeah.
Everything pretty much happens throughout this crossover. Now, yeah, maybe you need to know the characters. I'll give you that, but I found it wasn't too hard to jump in, to watch it. That being said, I feel either it's that we're suffering from the curse of all these new shows and the budgets that they have, but it's kind of corny.
Yeah.
I know.
The special effects are not the greatest, but hey, listen, it's a TV show. We get that. But it's going to be hard for them to continue when you have the MCU doing their shows on Disney Plus with the type of budgets that they have. It's going to become increasingly hard for them to compete because the show looks dated as it is. And now you're going to have movie budget quality TV shows elsewhere. You look at the stuff on DC Universe, that's high quality. You look at the stuff on Disney Plus, that's high quality. The CW has its cheese factor, and they embrace it, especially in Legends of Tomorrow, which is one of my favorite shows, by the way.
I think that was the only one I actually caught up on.
Because Legends of Tomorrow is awesome. You know what I'm saying?
it is.
To me, it's the best show out of all of them right now. Because they're not afraid to embrace the crazy and the cheesy and the corny. As a matter of fact, they live off of that stuff.
Unicorns turning into aliens?
Not even that. I can never burn out of my mind the fact that they dealt with a centuries-old time demon by transforming into a damn teddy bear.
I know. That was
That's
crazy.
the thing that makes Legends of Tomorrow so great. They're crazy, full on crazy. They've had George Lucas on there, for God's sake.
George Lucas? Yeah,
they've
they
had
did.
Godzilla references on there.
They have.
They have references everywhere.
Everywhere.
They even screwed up time, which they mentioned in.
They do
do
that
that all
every
the
other
time.
season.
Yeah, every other episode, every 5 minutes.
They messed up their trivia game just because they messed up time. I swear to God, like what?
Exactly. So the thing that Eli is referencing to, there's a scene in Crisis where they are literally at a trivia thing
Game
Contest
in a bar, and they know the answer to it, but because they've screwed up time, the answer is no longer relevant because the singer that wrote the song, because they changed time, she never wrote it, so they were wrong.
Yeah.
That's how crazy Legends gets. So, Legends is, the Crisis event is super fun. I will say that. But it is corny. The dialogue is stilted. The special effects are dated and stuff. But it's still watching all these characters interact and seeing some of the callbacks, like you said, if Avengers and Infinity War didn't exist, this would be the crossover event that everybody would be talking about.
Yeah.
So what eventually happens is Arrow Green Arrow sacrifices himself and he dies, but at the very end we see the heroes trying to get into purgatory and they have to go through Lucifer to get there to save his soul because they're trying to use the Lazarus pits to revive him.
Because that always works out so well.
It looks like he's now going to become the Arrowverse's version of Spectre, which is huge. Because
he is one stupid, powerful mofo.
I actually
he's
don't.
nigh invincible, right?
Yeah.
So that's where we left off with that crossover.
Just to provide a little context, he's basically the Ghost Rider of DC Universe, but like on a don't get me wrong, Ghost Rider is pretty cosmic, as he's not. When I say cosmic, I mean in the sense that he's dealing with celestial powers, heaven and hell, stuff like that. Spectre takes that to another level. Let's just say that.
Okay.
So he's going to be a very important character going forward. There's 2 more episodes of the Arrow show, period. So it's going to be interesting how they wrap that up.
New show, The Spectre. I mean, possibility.
Well, he's actually got the actor that plays Green Arrow. He's already got 2 shows going on right now.
Which one?
So he's got another show that's going to show up on, I believe, either HBO or Netflix, where it deals with wrestling.
Oh,
okay. Which is a passion that's near and dear to his heart because he's.
Didn't he appear?
Yeah, he's shown up at a couple of the WWE events, so this is a perfect fit for him. There's also another show, and it's going to be on this weird streaming service called Quib or something like that. I don't remember exactly the name of the show because it's so weird. But the name of the show is Code 8, and he's going to be doing it with his cousin. So it's Stephen Amell, that's the actor. His cousin is Robbie Amell, who's also shown up on the CW as Firestorm. They are going to have a movie that's out. It's called Code 8, and it was good enough that it's going to be turned into a show. So he's already got 2 shows going on. So I doubt he's going to have time to go back to the CW verse. All right. So on that note, we're going to go to the last geek out. That's going to be mine, and you guys can pretty much guess what that's going to be, right?
Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker trailer?
No. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention that though.
Oh yeah. So just on a quick aside, we went out to Manhattan. We went down to Soho and we stopped over at a place called Dolby Soho, where they were having a Rise of Skywalker event. We're going to post some of those pictures on Instagram, but basically in a nutshell, what it is it's a place that has about 11 interactive exhibits.
It was filled. It was packed.
Yeah, it was packed. We went on a Saturday night. And so basically what it is just a good way for Dolby to show off their technology, but using it in the vein of Star Wars. So when you first walk in, you're greeted with 4 walls of trailers all happening all around you interactively with the sound blasting and stuff like that. You get to play with lightsabers.
Yeah.
There is a 9-minute what do you call that? It was like an extended trailer type of thing.
With better graphics quality, and
they showed some excerpts from Comic-Con.
I'd suggest not watching for the first few minutes until the trailer starts, because for me, right after, there was this white circle in the middle. I'm just gonna say this.
Right.
White circle in the middle, and they were talking about black points, so the whole screen went black. Like
literally, it was impressive how black that
impressive.
Screen got. Super dark.
Yeah, and then there's just this white circle, and then the black point. I stared directly into it. Literally after that, I had trouble seeing.
Ouch.
And then they started doing all these hypnotizing things where it's there's the circle, and then it just blows up into a rainbow of colors, and my gosh, my eyes hurt after that. So I'd suggest not watching for the first few minutes and until the trailer starts.
Well, unless you can handle it.
Unless you can handle it, which I couldn't.
So if you have 20 or 30 minutes to kill and you're in the New York City area, I suggest you pop on by and check out Dolby Soho. It's a nice little place to hang out. They're showing off, like I said, their technology. There's 2 floors. The one floor has some of the main stuff, and if you go down to the bottom, that's where they have the cinema. They also have 3 Sith troopers on display.
Oh, okay.
And there's a little lounge where you can hang out and just listen to Star Wars music. So like I said, if you have like 20 or 30 minutes, head on down and check it out.
Yeah.
But the thing that we're going to geek out over the last couple of minutes here is The Mandalorian Chapter 6.
Oh, yeah.
The Prisoner.
Oh, I love the soundtrack, and it's probably one of my favorite episodes. But continue.
Yep. So I'm going to jump on Eli's sentiment. It is one of my favorite episodes. Again, though, we're straying away from moving the story forward. Again, it seems like we're becoming a procedural show where it's like, a case of the week. But I have to say, it was a really fun episode. There was a lot of tension.
Dark.
It was very dark, It was, and you know what I find interesting? The Mandalorian is being hunted throughout the galaxy by the Guild, but yet he seems to team up with every single person that he sees, instead of trying to hide out somewhere, right?
It doesn't look like they operate within the bounds of the Guild, though.
No, I know that, but I would tend to think if you're being hunted down by bounty hunters, wouldn't you want to lay low someplace instead of constantly taking jobs and
that's what he's trying to do, though. He's trying to build up the wealth to be able to do that, and also take care of the child.
He's doing a bad job of that.
Well, yeah, but that's a whole.
So
other thing.
let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. This episode starts out with Mando hooking up with one of his old friends, right?
Friend. And I put that in quotation marks. Friend.
So apparently Mando is not as green as we thought he would be, right?
Yeah.
Because he's got prior experiencing doing this complicated profession.
And you definitely see that throughout the episode.
This is the one where you saw the Mandalorian at his best, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
He
definitely.
was really, really capable in this episode,
He
as
was
opposed to some
smart.
of the episodes where he was kind of stumbling and bumbling along, right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
again is another shift in how we're looking at Mando. He's not really a very consistent character so far, which is another little bit of gripe that I have with the show going forward. So there's 2 gripes. He's not very consistent in the way they're framing the character, and it's become a procedural where we're not pushing the Baby Yoda plot line along at all,
Yeah.
But anyway, he meets up with one of his old friends, which happens to be Mark Boone Jr. from. He's been in a Batman movie before, Batman Begins, but he's probably best known as one of the guys from Sons of Anarchy. So, when you watch the episode, you will instantly recognize him. Mando gets recruited for an assignment. They have to break out somebody. Now, originally, Mando thinks that he's there because there's a rival gang coming after him. But no, the person that they have to break out is somebody that's on a New Republic troop prison ship, right?
Yeah.
Not a troop. It's just a prison ship.
Prison.
Right? He's not too keen about that because he doesn't want the quote-unquote heat on him.
I would understand.
And basically the reason they recruit him is because they need the Razor Crest. They need his ship.
That's
because
it.
his ship is off-grid, not only by New Republic standards, but by Imperial standards. It's basically a ghost ship. And guess what? They don't even need him driving it because they have a droid. I believe the droid's name is Zero.
Yeah.
I do not like him.
Zero is going to be the guy
Suspicious.
that's driving the ship.
He was a very interesting little fella.
Yes, he was. He's a droid with character. So
Yeah.
We're seeing more of that these days.
yes, I know. They're not just regular regular droids.
Beep up, boop up.
Exactly. So eventually they head out, and he has a new team. And again, he's got some ties to this team. Now, the main guy is the guy with the guns.
Oh God, this guy has like 5 different guns. It's attached to his back too.
His name is Mayfield. He is going to be the leader, and the Sons of Anarchy character, his name is Ran. So he basically Ran has a long-standing history with Mando. So when they leave, he said, okay, Mayfield's going to be in the number 1. Anything he says, think of it as coming from me. So Mayfield is played by comedian Bill Burr. There is a Deveronian named Berg, and people in sci-fi and genre and geekdom will recognize him as being Clancy Brown, right?
Hey.
Very recognizable character. And the third person is a Twi'lek named Xi'an. And this is heavily intimated that both her and Mando have had a relationship, maybe romantic, maybe not. We really don't know, right? But there is a little tension between the two.
Hey man, she knew the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and it's interesting that you mentioned that, because as they're headed toward their target, there's a point where they start asking about the helmet.
The helmet. Yeah.
Does the helmet ever come off? And that's where she mentioned, this is the way. And Berg actually tries to take the helmet off, and they get into a scuffle, and that's when they find that Baby Yoda's on the ship. Now, they have never seen this species before. At first, Mayfield thought it was a pet, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually they drop Baby Yoda when they're coming out of hyperspace.
God.
But Baby Yoda, being the resilient Baby Yoda that he is,
Stop doing this to us.
he's so cute. Even when he gets hurt, he's fine.
That squeal though, I was just like crying at that squeal. It was like,
But tell me, how funny was Mayfield when he went into his Gungan bit?
oh no.
So there's a point there where
Basically
they're
roasting
trying to figure
Mando.
out, yeah, they're trying to figure out what the Mandalorian looks like underneath, and he was like, "Oh, maybe he's Gundam," and he busts out an explanation in full Gundam accent. So
Gungan.
Gungan. What did I say? Gundam?
Yeah.
Gundam.
I'm sorry, I'm mixing my franchises. Gungan.
Gungan.
Jar Jar Binks Gungan. Misa,
I feel bad
you
for
so
him.
crazy Gungan. You know? So they get on the ship, and, well, guys, what happens?
So they get on. They, they scope their surroundings. They get a feel of the atmosphere. They come into a bit of a scuffle with a few. That's the other thing. This ship, there are not supposed to be any biological life forms aside from the prisoners. It's supposed to be completely manned by droids. They run into a few droids. Mando takes his hate out on them because he does have a hate fest on anything droid related.
And we spoke on why we think he has that hate fest.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's CIS.
Yep. It all goes back to those flashbacks that he had in the hideout of the Mandalorians when he was talking to the armorer. Probably, and it's not probably, it is what it is. The reason he hates droids is because his family was murdered by super battle droids.
Yeah.
So that's
Probably during the Clone Wars or probably in the intermediate stages after it.
right.
But no, that's the thing though. How can it be after if Anakin was tasked with telling all these droid stations to completely shut down? It has to be at least at the same time as the fall of the Jedi during Revenge of the Sith.
Well, okay, maybe.
Because you don't find many droids that are online. Like, the only instance you got of a droid faction being online and operating is in Rebels. when you had that there was a marooned cruiser, I guess, and it basically held a population of battle droids.
Which one? I don't remember.
That is the only other instance where we have seen battle droids online and operational during the, I guess you could say, original trilogy era.
Well, during Order 66. Shoot, I'm trying to. Whatever.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm going to see Revenge of the Sith soon because I was talking with a friend the other day and how sad that movie was. I just got to see it again.
Yeah. So, droids on the ship.
Yeah.
Mando dispatches the droids spectacularly. Right?
That was beautiful to watch.
Aye.
Yeah. But there is a human on board.
Yeah, that's a complicating factor that Mayfield knew about, but is like, I didn't think we'd get this far.
Mm-hmm. Now, interesting to know who the actor is that played that particular character. It's Matt Lanter. Now, if you guys are familiar with him, he is the voice of Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars and Rebel series.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
You get a tense standoff again. Mando showing his colors where he does not want to kill the person, and it becomes a Mexican standoff, right? Because everybody's pointing guns. Mando's trying to calm the guy down. He has a switch that if he clicks it, will send a New Republic kill squad, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, like a kill streak.
Right, exactly. So they're trying to avoid him from pressing. Mando's trying to talk him down. Mayfield's got a gun pointed at him saying, put it down, I'm going to kill you. Berg wants to now start shooting people, and eventually what happens is Xian vibroblades him, throws a vibroblade at him, kills him, and he was like, oh, you guys would shut up already? I was getting bored, basically, right?
Yeah, but it turns out he pressed it.
He pressed it. So they have, 20 minutes to complete the mission, right?
Yeah.
What's the mission? We finally find out who it is, right?
It's the brother of Xian who Mando left on a previous mission. And at that point, they turn on him.
Very quickly, I might add, because as soon as he walks out, they kick Mando into the cell and shut the door.
Yeah.
So they're on their way back to the Razor's Crest. Mando ingeniously finds a way to get out of the cell by using a battle droid, using a grappling hook to bring him to the door.
Damn clunkers.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then he grabbed his arm, he ripped it off, then he...
Clankers. It's clankers.
Yeah.
That's a Clone Wars reference.
So he rips off the arm.
He takes it out of the window and presses the... No,
he uses that little...
The...
I don't know what you even call that. The thing that R2-D2 uses to hack into hack into computers.
The hacking pick.
Yeah, the
I'm just
hacking
gonna call
pick,
it that.
right?
Yeah, and then
So he gets out,
opens it.
and he ends up walking back to the place where Matt Lanter's character was, because that is really the control room, and he's got vision, he's got cameras, he's got full control of the ship from that place.
Yeah.
And then we begin. And for me, this is the part where I told you it reminded me of the Aliens movie.
It did. It really did.
It effectively becomes Mando hunting down each of those characters.
And he does it in a very strategic way. So
He does. And what he does is he ends up taking that little tracking device, the New Republic kill switch, right? But
That doesn't pay off until later.
Right. First, he meets up with Berg.
well, what he does...
Well, he starts basically locking down everything and trying to control the environment.
And then what I really liked was how he split them up.
Right.
So they were starting to...
They were headed back to the ship to get out of there.
And then all of a sudden, the door locks, and two of them are on the other side, and two on...
Xian and Berg, and then, what is it, Mayfield
And
Kin. And, oh
Quinn
my
or
God,
Kin.
Quinn.
Yes. Whatever his name is.
Damn.
Like Mayfield, at least Mayfield even made the attempt. Like, dude, what are we gonna do about your sister? And then Quinn is like, what sister? Let's get the hell out of here. My God.
So Mando starts hunting each one of these down. The first one that he stumbles against is Berg. How great of a fight was that?
I like how they unveiled that he was fireproof. That was pretty cool.
He was.
He took a full blast of flamethrower to the face.
I know.
And nothing happened to the Deveronian.
I know.
It was didn't he chuckle afterwards?
Yeah.
He did.
Flinging him all around was Berg. Mando was like a puppet being thrown up against the wall here and there. He even tried doing the whispering birds.
Yeah.
Right. Guns. Nothing worked. He was thoroughly outmatched until he was able to flip him over and throw him against the doors. And what did he do?
He basically had them subdue him. I'm not going to say crush him.
The first blast door came tumbling down on Berg.
We all thought he was dead.
We thought he was dead, but yet, like Atlas lifting up the world, right?
Yeah.
He pushes that thing over, he looks like he was about to laugh, right?
Yeah.
He was like, really? And Mando then shuts the blast doors from the side.
Oh.
And that's the last image we got of Berg. So we thought he was done.
Yeah.
The next person that he goes after is Mayfield.
Or was it Xi'an?
No. Xi'an.
Okay, it was Xi'an.
So Xi'an, that was a very quick fight. She throws vibroblades. Some of them bounce off his armor. One of them gets caught into his arm, the part that wasn't covered by Beskar. But at the end of the fight, he gets the best of her and has a blade to her neck.
Yeah.
I thought he made the cut.
I thought he stabbed her.
Mm-hmm. So we cut away, and then we are now with Mayfield, which is probably my favorite scene out of the whole thing because it made Mando out to look like a horror movie character, right?
Yeah.
Oh, now I remember
You
that.
remember that, right?
Now.
So Mayfield's walking around, and he already has the offer by Ken to that if he kills Mando and gets him off, he'll get triple the amount of bounty that he would have gotten, right? There comes a point, and again, very aliens-like. He comes down this corridor, which is flashing with the strobe lights.
And it's red.
And it's red, and it's dark, and it's flashing, and it's dark. And with every flash, we see Mando in the background. And then the next flash, he's gone. And then the next flash, Mando's a little closer, and then he's gone. And then a little closer again, and then Mayfield turns around, and there's Mando. He's like, no!
Well, no, he's not there at first.
He's not there.
Right.
And then he makes another turn, and he's right there, and he's like, this can't be happening.
Yeah. And we cut away again. So then the last person that's left is Ken, whatever his name is.
I'm surprised he didn't get off the ship.
The brother, let's put it that way. He was about to get off the ship. He was at the he was at the ladder.
He was on the ladder.
Oh, did I forget what was happening on the Razor Crest?
Oh, yes. So basically Zero's getting a little nosy, and he's going through
the
Mando's hologram archives. And he basically comes upon the message from, what's his name?
Grief
Karga.
Mm-hmm.
Basically saying, bring the bounty here. And at the same time, we see Baby Yoda walk in on him. And so at first Zero is like, interesting, okay. And then I guess he has a little synaptic ooh-ha. And he's like, wait, what if that's... And he goes to pick up his blaster, of all things. And then Baby Yoda's not there.
And so he's now with Mando hunting down the other bounty hunters. Zero is now hunting down Baby Yoda on the ship. And he still looks cute even when he's hiding, right?
I know.
Hiding behind crates.
He keeps teleporting.
He's
or
like
something.
a ninja.
He's like stealthy, bro.
Yeah, because Zero could not find him. Baby Yoda would peek behind the crate, and then Zero will come over, and he's gone. So he's like a little ninja. So basically, what happens is,
Going back to Quinn.
Quinn pleads for his life. He basically says, "Hey, you have a code. You're not gonna kill me. You have to bring me in. That's the code that you have." Blah blah, this and that. And then we cut back to the Razor Crest, and Zero finally finds Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda goes to use the Force on Zero.
Yeah.
As Zero raises the blaster to shoot Baby Yoda, and then he gets blasted himself. Now, at first, Baby Yoda thought that he was the one that did it, because afterwards, when the blast happened, he looked at his hand and he was like, "Did I do that?" But as Zero falls, we see it's the Mandalorian behind them.
Yeah.
They end up going back to where Rand is, and he brings the bounty, just like old times. That's the line that they keep saying. Rand pays him, he gets on the ship, and he's about to leave, and the other guy and Rand goes and he says, "Kill him." And so I guess a bomber, a fighter, comes out of the thing. But that's when Quinn or Kin or whoever it is, Xi'an's brother, finds out he's been duped a little bit, right?
He's been bamboozled.
So remember that nice little homing device that we spoke about earlier? This is where it comes to pay off, because it's been on Quinn's person the entire time. And right as the Razor Crest is leaving the bounds of the space station where he harbors, maybe a few space nautical miles out, three X-Wings come out of hyperspace.
I know.
And it's interesting to note that those 3 X-Wing, the pilots, are very, very particular. Because the first one we see, it's Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni is now canon. Dave Filoni is piloting one of the X-Wings. But guess what? The other 2 X-Wings are piloted by Deborah Chow and Rick Famuyiwa. I always mess up his last name because his last name. Now, if you don't know who those 2 other people are, all 3 of them were directors for The Mandalorian. Every single one. I don't think anybody else is direct. Oh, well, the only other person that directed was Bryce Dallas Howard. So, but every other episode was directed by these 3. They're all canon now in the Star Wars universe.
Hey.
And what happens?
They blow that space station to hell.
Oh.
And the Mandalorian's like, see ya.
So now, here's my third gripe with the episode. Why the hell is Dave Filoni not in a helmet that looks like a cowboy hat?
Because that's not what you wear when you're flying an X-Wing.
Cowboy
Dave
Bebop.
Filoni, he always wears a cowboy hat. They should have made his helmet into a cowboy hat.
I don't
Cowboy
think
what?
that
I'm
fits
never watching another
Republic
episode again.
standards.
Never watching another episode again. You should have done that, people. What's wrong with you?
Maybe they don't exist. Well, no, Cad Bane is,
Cowboy Bebop.
Cad Bane is a cowboy.
Yeah.
So that's the end of that episode.
Yeah, pretty much. And as per the usual, as they're flying off, Mando gives Baby Yoda that little piece of, I guess, the knob.
And he told him, "I told you it wasn't a good idea." I wonder what that was about.
Well, I think he's starting to form a dialogue with him, even though maybe Baby Yoda doesn't speak back. But we don't know that for sure because the episode wraps up.
Force.
All right, so we're done. This is now episode 6. We've got 2 episodes left. So now the next episode is going to be Wednesday, before the release of Rise of Skywalker. And then following that, it's going to go back. The last episode will be a Friday episode. So if you guys are expecting a Friday episode coming up this week, just know that they're dropping it on Wednesday instead. And I gather the reason why is that maybe, just maybe, there may be some Easter eggs or something that relates to Rise of Skywalker. We're just speculating here. And maybe the reason why is that they did not want people to go into Rise of Skywalker without seeing the episode of The Mandalorian. But again, that's just a guess, and I guess we'll find out in a couple of days from now. So we're going to wrap this bad boy up. I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank everybody for subscribing to the Get Geek podcast. And please remember to rate and review the show. That'll only help us. And please tell all your friends. If they're into geek stuff, let them know that there's a podcast out there that they may like.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to sign off here. My name is Walt.
This is AJ bidding thee all adieu.
Eli. Supreme Boy Eli, actually.
Gucci over Versace? Or we're not doing that anymore?
No, it's okay. It's okay. Let's not bring that back.
Gucci and Versace, I realized. And Supreme. No. Just no.
So
No.
Nike?
Nah, Nike's pretty
Nike
good.
and Adidas?
Adidas.
Or Adidas?
Oditos.
Oditos. I don't know. Alrighty then. Well, anyway, later people and stay geeky.